How do you run your household and actually lead without being a tyrant or being an a-hole tyrant? And we've all seen these guys, right? These real command control kind of guys. How is it that you do this and lead well, but also not come across that way and actually alienate the heart of your children towards you? That's the topic for today. Who am I? I'm Old Grog. I'm 50 years old, been married to the same woman 25 years, got 4 grown kids who are in the faith and growing and developing, and they're doing great. We've been in the same church. We've been running, pastoring the same church for 20 years. I've established and sold businesses and am in business now. And so I am saying this to you that I get it. I get how you feel like you're running on fumes, how you're exhausted, how you're in the good fight, but it's hard. You're trying to keep a wife happy. You're trying to keep kids pointed in the right direction in the middle of soccer practices and all sorts of things. So that is who I am. I only talk to young Christian husbands and fathers. That's it. Everybody else, this is not the channel for you. And I'm on mission to give you as much as I've got. Whatever I've got, I'm giving it to you. We have books. I am doing this video series because I just want to load ammo into the back of your truck so you can go further and have more wins. So the topic today, how do I run my family without being an a-hole tyrant? Okay, the first thing that I would say is that we have an example in Abraham. So Abram starts out, go read, I think it's Genesis 12 through 22, you can read the entire life of Abraham right there. And if you watch his journey, he starts out as Abram, which is translated to exalted father. And then in time, after God makes covenant with him and there's promises, God changes his name to Abraham, which is father of many. So that's a subtle difference, but it's big. Exalted father, so that is the worst form of, and what everybody screams and loses their mind about when you use the word patriarchy. It is this a-hole tyrant. But father of many means basically going from my status, right, and a preoccupation with being this exalted dude that everybody has to obey, and I'm just slamming my fist on the table and barking orders and snapping my fingers and everybody has to, sit up straight, to father of many, which actually requires a tremendous amount of investment. It means I'm pouring myself out and people are replicating and being blessed and fulfilled. And that kind of blessing that only comes from a father is huge. It doesn't just mean existence. It means fathers do all these really particular things. A father is responsible for the naming of a child, right? Which is identity. So there's an impartation of identity. There is the studying the child to find out strengths and weaknesses and then being able to help him or her go the path that they're supposed to go. There is the defending. There is the providing for. There is setting perimeters so that, hey, look, in this household, we do these things and we don't do these other things. That is not our culture. You're a Thompson, whatever your last name is. You're a Thompson. Thompsons don't run it that way. We run it like this. Well, why do we run it like this? Well, because it's consistent with what we see in the scripture, and also because this was the tradition that was handed down to us, And there's a lot of freedom and liberty to create that family culture, but that's part of your job. That is part of being a father to many, is this deep investment, and it's a costly investment. It will cost you a lot. That's why you're so tired at night. That's why you're pulling your hair out, trying to figure out how else do I make another $5 this month. I also want to tell you this. Your origin father isn't your destiny. Whatever it is that you've seen, good, bad, or otherwise, that's not your destiny in the Lord. I just see it every day. I see young men who had really crummy fathers or absent fathers, or just deeply flawed characters, who were sort of setting the frame in their mind about the category of father, and that is being revamped and reconditioned all the time. So that's an encouragement to you, is that whatever you've seen, it's not your destiny. And in fact, there's ways to actually cull out and sort of scrape out of your family of origin attributes and traits that you do want to be advanced and passed down through the generational line, and ways to cull out and break off and sever those things which are not, that you don't want passed down. That is not your total destiny. There is also another popular idea right now. I'm not entirely sure where it came from, but this idea of servant leadership just means washing dishes, or like being helpful around the house, or just like, quote, removing her mental load. That's some part of what leadership is, and good governance and good righteous rule, which is what your job is as a patriarch, as somebody who's leading and governing this family that God has given you. But really, so is standing firm when it's an unpopular decision. So is charting a new course and saying, we're all headed that way. And also, Billy, I'm not going to tell you again, get this thing sorted out and bring it in, and we're all headed that way. That is as much leadership as what is popularly conceived of as servant leadership. When you think of it purely in terms of the dishwashing kind, you essentially sort of fall to household assistant, as though you go do your work out there in the real world of commerce, and then come home and what can I do to support you, dear? And yes, I'll take out the trash. It's a total mind shift to go from no, this is my household. When I walk in, if there's things that are operating here that I don't like, I don't tolerate them. I say, no, that's out of order. We're bringing things back into order. This is a totally different video, but you have to actually learn how to form a knife hand. In the military, this is a go-to move, and it essentially means I sort of point it at who I'm talking to, and the tip of my fingers sort of directs them right to my face, and I say, Billy, go get your stuff and put it in the car. And what that does, using this technique, the knife hand, is it isolates who you're talking to. It directs their attention right back to my eyeballs. It makes the command clear. And then all I expect from there is just nod. Roger that. I got that. Good. Great. Get the stuff. Get it in the car. See, there's no harassing. There's no raising voice. It's a very calm technique to move from point A to point B. The knife hand. That was free. That just came to me. Part of good governance and being Abrahamic and not just Abram is that I do that with a thankful and a cheerful heart. I do it not with slumped shoulders and exhaustion and exasperation all the time, and you're ridiculous, and I can't believe we're covering this again. No. You walk in, shoulders back, and we're presenting an orderly presence in an orderly world so that people can actually hop to and get their stuff and get in the car so that we can go to church or wherever we're headed. So those are just some tips. The knife hand, there's the understanding that I am making heavy, deep, sustained investment in my people. That's another thing. You should start actually referring to your family as my people. Nobody does that. Like nobody at your office says, hey, what are you doing this weekend? And then the other guy's like, well, my people and I are going to whatever. That level of ownership and sort of donning that fatherly cloak, that's really unusual right now. But I would say start using it, practice it. It does a few things. It signals to everybody in the world, this guy has some pretty radical ownership about what's happening. And two, it signals to kids that, oh, I am his people. And then the third thing is that it reinforces in your own mind that sense of responsibility. So, my people. And it's great. You can try it for all sorts of things. My people need. My people are facing these things. If I have a view for the flourishing of my people, that may mean I make some interesting decisions career-wise, because my people need is a serious motivator for people who have an Abrahamic mentality over their families. It's a total 180 from the guy who comes in just, what else can I do here, dear? And I don't want to make mom upset. No. We got to move way past that. So you are the fight.